Well, after a game 5 like it's hard to go ahead and beat that, but we're going to try to here on the Alpha stream for the last match of the night. Folks, welcome back. My name is McCormiel. Alongside myself is Morgan, and we are here to walk you through the final game of the night between ASU Gold and Grossmont. But before we can do that, let's just go ahead and talk about some of the matches we've already seen today here on the Alpha stream. Folks, if you haven't been here whatsoever, well, you should have been. It was an incredible match, the last one we saw between UTD Orange and North Texas. Number 16 UTD Orange was able to win a 3-2 victory over them. The number 16 UTD Orange over number 25 North Texas. As for the first match on the Alpha stream, it was a 3-0 for Northern Iowa, the number 12th ranked team in the power rankings. Looking at the Bravo stream, though, Tulsa was able to 3-1 the side of UTD Green. We covered that match earlier. It was a fun one, even though it was close. That series really doesn't, the score really doesn't tell how close that actually was as a series because it was fun as hell to watch. But and then Bethany Blue, the match just concluded there on the Bravo stream as well. A 3-1 victory for them over the side of Iowa. So that leads us into the game now. Morgan, ASU Gold, and Grossmont. Both of these teams almost leading the top of their division in Pacific B. 7-1 for ASU Gold, 8-0 for Grossmont. This is going to be a crazy match.
Yeah, I mean, Grossmont effectively tied for first right now in the Pacific B division. They are looking to take it home. And these two teams have just been dominant thus far, top to bottom. The only team that has taken a map off of ASU Gold also took Grossmont, or taken a game off of ASU Gold, also took Grossmont to a 3-2 map count. So it seems right now like these guys are neck and neck in terms of overall skill. They are really going back and forth at it. We're going to be kicking things off here with the Raid Hardpoint. And you know the name of the game. It's going to be all about those big rotations, very powerful hills 2, 3, and 4 that you can get going here on Raid.
Folks, he just mentioned it. Raid Hardpoint map number 1. Map number 2 for the S&D will be Checkmate. For Control, same map, Checkmate, however, different mode. And then if we need to go to the distance to map 4 and 5, which I have a hunch that we just might have to, it's going to be Crossroads Strike for Hardpoint, and for the S&D, it's going to kick us off and end us with a Garrison. But as we said beforehand, last stream for day number 1 of week number 5 here in CCL Season 3. Hopefully we can end it off with a barn burner as good as our last one, where Shift and Spaz were able to take you through that one. But just talking about Hardpoint here on a map like Raid, what are we going to be looking for? And we all know it basically comes down to a P5 every single time. But besides that, really, this map is kind of a toss-up between both of the teams, especially with how close they are.
Yeah, I mean, off the jump, I'm really going to be looking to how the team that spawns away from P2 looks to try and move their way over towards Kitchen. If you give that up completely to whoever has that spawn initially, it can really get ugly early. You can lock yourself inside of that point, really get some score in your favor and get a big lead going early. But then it's right back over towards Garage P3, and the same thing can happen the other direction. What I will say, though, is from what we've seen thus far this season, P3 has gone from what a lot of people thought of as a powerful hill, a lockdown, can't break in if you're the second team there, to really teams are figuring out how to bust their way in. They blow up some of those cars, they get an opening, and they can turn things around. So I really am a guy that's all about those initial spawn flips. See if you can make that push over to P2 and get your team off to the right foot. And these are two great teams with great slayers, so expect a whole lot of action to be popping early.
Well, Morgan, I mean, you set the stage up for an incredible map number 1, but let's talk about the players on both of these two respective rosters. For the side of ASU Gold, Fishity, the captain, coming through with the 2.58 KD inside of the hardpoint mode. Not the best on the team, though. Milo, Christian, and Skell will round out that 4-man roster, with Skell leading the way with a 2.67 KD inside of hardpoint, looking to go ahead and, again, follow that slaying power, follow that slaying role here on Raid, especially those SMGs needing to get up aggressive and close to win those initial gunfights, to get those breaks towards those next hills and all in those rotations. And again, we talk about it all the time. Subs have to get out early to get to those next points, to make those rotations stick and give their team the spawns for that next hill. It's going to be a battle of attrition here on Raid Hardpoint, as it always is. Look to see at least 2 to 3 rotations of hardpoints before this one's all said and done.
Yeah, and then over on the side of Grossmont, we have Liquify, Just Joker, Retro, and Mikey King. Not all of them rocking as big of those KDs that we see over on the side of ASU Gold, but they have the better record overall, so you can see it's not always about how hard you can slay. It's how good you put it together as a squad. The guy to watch out for, though, in these respawn modes, definitely going to be Just Jokester. Has the 2.2 hardpoint KD, has just below the 2 KD on control. He is their Slayer, but I'm really interested to see how these guys just work together. Looking at these stats, it's going to be a lot more of how they control the map, how they get to where they want to be first, and I would expect ASU to try and battle that with the highlight plays from those highlight players.
ASU Gold coming into this match trying to take down Grossmont and knock them down to 8-1, trying to advance themselves to 8-1. But more importantly, talking about these two teams and where they stand inside of Pacific B, as mentioned beforehand, they are the second and third place teams, with Grossmont being that second place team inside of Pacific Division B. So really, this is a fight not only to see who can put themselves on top of one another, but it's really a battle to see, okay, can I get a little bit of momentum over this opponent? Can I see how they play? Can I put our skills to the test and be able to take supremacy over that opponent inside of this division? And that's really ASU's mindset. Grossmont's is just, okay, let's beat these guys and continue our undefeated record. But the good news for both of these two teams is that they've basically locked themselves in. It's not a surefire thing yet, but they've basically locked themselves in to be in that top division for the second split of the season, which makes their road to getting into playoffs so much easier, especially come around that relegation time if they're still in that top spot, or they're the top four inside of their division.
Yeah, so I think no matter what, this one has the possibility to go big, hit another Game 5 here on Alpha Stream. You would love to see it. These guys both fighting for those top spots, and you know they're going to see each other again once we make it over towards Split 2. For now, though, as we wait for this lobby to get set up, we're going to hit up a very quick break, but stick around. Final match here on Alpha Stream going to be back soon.
It is time for game number one here between ASU Gold and Grossmont, and it is Raid Hardpoint to start us off here. Both teams rushing up towards the point. It is going to be Sig looking on your screen over towards back through middle, looking for potentially maybe anybody who's trying to flank through that zigzag area back in towards Art. But as I say that, 4 go down from ASU Gold. Grossmont start this one off hot on a tear. 3-0 thus far there from RCVs.
Yeah, never want to start yourself off with a full team wipe, and now ASU Gold a little bit stuck over by their spawn, still just getting knocked down by RCVZ. I was talking about that initial play over towards the P2 spawn, see what you can pick up, but it is just clashing head-to-head right now on top of Statue, and Grossmont continues to win the extended battle. No look for any form of rotations, as ASU will not back down.
Every single time a Grossmont player challenges a gunfight, it seems like it's a win for that side. 35 seconds has already ticked to the side of Grossmont. They've got the rotations over to Kitchen as well, and this has been a great first and second hardpoint for the side of Grossmont. Just Jokester will find 2, tries to find the shot in towards Money, but will just play his life instead of the point for now. Player number 2 going to be making a potential huge play for the side of ASU Gold if he can stay alive and allow his teammates in middle map to make the pinch play. However, Blizzak there, 2 players wrapping around through the back to try and secure the spawns for ASU Gold. However, once again, early on, it's been Grossmont who's been able to not only to get the time inside of the hill, but win the majority of the gunfights. And as I say that, of course, the opposite happens. ASU Gold get a 4-man wipe.
Yeah, big kills right there for ASU Gold to get in and take control of P2 here inside of the kitchen, but can they hold on to it is the question. Doesn't seem like it, as it's another team wipe the other direction. ASU Gold completely forced off, and now you have the dangerous question of, do we play for some trash time or do we just give up on it? Seems like they're going to set up for themselves over by P3, pick up a kill on the roaming, rotating Grossmont member, and just try to get back into this game.
Well, Morgan, before this game, you were talking about how these teams might be able to break over towards that P3 hill, and this is exactly what might be happening for the side of Grossmont here as they try to make this initial push. 2 players around through the vents are going to be the first key players in getting these initial gunfights. However, they're both going to fall, and that's going to spawn Grossmont all the way back across the map over towards P2. The good news for them is they'll be clumped up and ready to make this push here through zigzag and back around towards Art, but it's Fish, and he finds 3 in middle map. The rest of the ASU Gold players are going to be stuck together. Sig finds the 4th, 4 down for the side of Grossmont. ASU Gold holds on to the point for the time being. They've already got 25 seconds, looking to go ahead and find the full 60. This would put them directly back in towards this game, basically tied up on the rotation over towards basketball courts.
Yeah, very good plays right now and not giving up to the Grossmont attack right there. ASU Gold going to hold strong, but then you go coast to coast yet again. That's what makes rotations and raids so important. It's just back and forth. It continues to get sent. Big play right now to Fishity, though, as he tries to get on top of the stairs over by the courts. Seems like the rest of his team gets sent back, holding on to those last few moments. So in control are Grossmont here and now. They're going to have the lead, and they're going to be the first team onto P4. But how long they hold it becomes the question.
Yeah, Cringer made a huge play there, making sure that he was able to win that one-on-one gunfight to secure the basketball court for the side of Grossmont. And that actually is going to allow them to at least rack up about 10 to 15 seconds of time before even the first contestation wave comes through. And that actually means that they'd have to get close to the point, and as 3 go down once again, that'll make it 4. Grossmont, it seems like every time ASU Gold gets 1 foot forward, they force them 2 steps backwards because Grossmont just has that slaying capability and power to hold on to any point. It was 60 seconds for ASU Gold over towards Garage. This time, Grossmont's looking to go ahead and find themselves 60 seconds of time at the basketball courts, and right now, it's just a bunch of dribbling balls back and forth between both of these two teams as the kill feed is all pinstriped.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the overall KD for ASU right now, they're not doing too terrible. They aren't massively negative, but it's the time these kills come through are just so much more impactful for Grossmont. How many times have they gotten full team wipes for themselves, filling up the kill feed and guaranteeing control, where ASU are just kind of getting one after the next here and there? That's the big difference, and that's why it is a double up on the scoreboard right now. The team in green really giving it to Arizona State.
This is a huge kill right here for Fishity to be able to get it, because that's going to secure him streaks. The artillery bomb comes through, so that is going to allow him to now work his way potentially towards also finding a cruise missile. The challenge in Kitchen will get him the cruise missile as well, so that's utility in the back pocket now for ASU Gold to use later in the game. How important it is to make sure you're conserving your streaks for the most crucial points in a game is something that a lot of players don't understand, especially since last year Modern Warfare, where a lot of players were starting to come up, weren't necessarily able to get good hands-on experience with using streaks inside of that game. So here inside of Black Ops Cold War, it's much more important to learn how to use streaks correctly and use them to your advantage when you have the time. 10 seconds of time left in point number 5. Rotation back over towards point number 1 is going to be commencing. ASU Gold looking really good after that last P5 hold.
Yeah, and a good rotation now to take care of P1, getting back into the game, as you said. And a lot of times what you got to think about when you have that score streak burning a hole in your back pocket, some guys, they feel confident enough. They want to use it early. They want to give themselves the chance to get another. But if you send that out just too aggressively, you don't get a very strong hold off of it. It could be a make or break difference for your team. Grossmont just dominating in how they come in and retake the site. And there you see how Fishity can use it. Triple kill off the cruise missile. And that should be ASU tying this one up.
And now that's great time for the side of ASU Gold. However, is that the correct use of the cruise missile there? I don't know if that's going to come back to bite them or not at the end of this game. However, with another 3 players going down for the side of for the side of ASU, it is going to get them a little bit of hill time and eventually get them those P2 spawns. However, is that going to come into effect later in the game as this continues to go forward? Obviously, we've seen ASU Gold be able to hold a lot of time, but again, that's the question we have to ask as the game continues to progress on. Jokester in towards the kitchen is going to be able to find one. Almost able to turn on to Milo there. He's got the confidence to ego chow around the corners, but as 3 go down, he's got no teammates around to help him. However, the graceful spawn at the basketball court will be huge for Grossmont because that will allow them to come back and retaliate with a flash and quickness that only lightning bolts can provide, and that could actually allow them maybe to get a little bit of time inside of the hill, but ASU Gold was able to read that spawn correctly. They won the majority of their gunfights, and this player in Fishity, man, 10 kill streak. How in the hell? 35 kills, and we haven't even basically got to the 3rd quarter of this game yet.
35-14 and nearly single-handedly taking the game back for ASU Gold at this point. They have had an amazing P2 the second time around, but Grossmont are able to continue spraying in, get some control back for themselves. They got to be careful about getting too aggressive. Need to hold on to your spawns over by P3 at this point in the game as Fishity just holds on, challenges Blizzak and gets away with his life. For Grossmont, what are you even thinking at this point? Everything seems to be going your way, but all of a sudden you're way down. Blizzak going to start things happening in their favor, but they got to find a way to deal with Fishity. He continues to tear through.
I mean, this guy Fishity, man, he can do it all. He can slay, he can fly, he can be the first player on rotation every time. It doesn't matter. I said that maybe using that streak in that situation wasn't going to be the best play. Hell, he goes and gets streaks once again. 198, 163. The break starting to potentially come there on the Fishy is going to slow it down for the time being. Milo will be taken out on the reverse, so that will be a little bit of time here for the side of ASU Gold. Potentially they can break it, but no. Grossmont will secure it, potentially 30 seconds of time now in their favor. But one thing I want to point out, coming into this game, Milo had secured himself on an average of 2 minutes and 50 seconds inside of the hill consistently throughout 23 maps played here inside of CCL Season 3. Thus far, he is 2 minutes and 47 seconds inside of this map alone. This guy can do it all when it comes to objective time. It doesn't matter what you're going on the scoreboard in terms of kills, as long as you're racking up your team, the most important part of the game, and that's going to be points.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Kinger's trying to do the same thing for Grossmont, but the difference is the supporting 3 members just going around looking for kills. They are getting taken over on ASU Gold's side. 38-19, 18-18, 19-7. Big positive overall as Jokester tries to move over there. And now you're seeing, again, the streaks coming in big. P4 and P5 are wide open. It's going to be so much to fight through as Grossmont still have more to worry about. There it is. You hear the explosions continue to fall, and that's really aggressive use out of Fishy, dropping both here. They want to end it right now on the courts.
I was going to say the streaks come through because they want to end it all, and that's exactly what they're continuing to do. They'll see a player on the back staircase. RC is going to be able to get taken down. However, King, he's going to be able to keep his team in the game for just a little bit longer. Shots through middle. Sig is there. Rotation for ASU Gold into middle map. And this is the death hold that they have because they had water steps. Even though that player falls, they still have ring control through pillars. And that player in Skell, who is at ring right now, is able to take the player down over towards water. They've got to read this spawn, but Fishy flanking the player in kitchen, they can focus all their attention to water because they know they're going to be coming through there. RC is going to be able to take down 2, but on the counterattack, it's ASU Gold who find it. ASU Gold will take the point, take game number 1, and they will take down at least 1 map off of the team that is besting them inside of the Pacific B division in map number 1. We are in Morgan. We are in store for an incredible matchup here if that's how this is everything's gonna go. Because ASU, they were down by like what, 90 points at the beginning of that game? Oh, Fishy, this guy's a beast.
It was an amazing start for Grossmont, honestly. They came out hot. They got multiple team wipes on ASU Gold over and over and over again. It felt like they would control this game till the end. And then something clicked. Something flipped in the brain of Fishy. He just went off, almost dropped himself a 40 bomb here in map number 1. And as you look forward to the maps coming up here, Grossmont, they've played from behind a couple times. They have gotten that 3-2 victory themselves. But going up against a team of this caliber, I don't know if they have seen it before. It is going to be a big test to their mental ability if they can hold on strong against this ASU squad. You're muted, can't hear you.
Excuse me, apologize.
You're good.
I was going to say, for the side of ASU Gold, I'm not going to say it's lucky. It was just a good turn of fortune for Fishy there as he was able to drop, 42, 43 kills there inside of that map. The rest of the team, it wasn't anything special. It was almost lackluster in the slaying department. But again, it really doesn't matter what the slaying department looks like when you have a player that's dropping 42 without EKIA and a player that's getting over 3 minutes and 20 seconds of hill time for your roster. The other guys are just there to go ahead and maybe close off a couple of lanes here and there. But this Fishy guy, there's not enough good things you can say about him after map number 1. They start off slow. He catches fire, goes on a 7-8 spree, dies, goes on another 10 spree, gets streaks once again for his team. ASU Gold, that's how you take a series and shove momentum in your face while the other team is now left hanging out saying, okay, now we got to go into the search and destroy. We got to be on the back foot. We are the ones now who have to make the adjustments and come out hot in the next game.
Yeah, and we were talking about when do you decide to use these score streaks? If you throw it out, you're not going to get it back until Fishy's just like, hey, I don't want this one. I want a new one. Decides to use the cruise missile for a triple kill, and then immediately comes back on that 10 streak you talked about. It is so difficult on a map like Raid when the important hills, the 4, 5, and 1 hills are all wide open outside. Those score streaks just will completely change a game. You saw it there at the end. There was nothing Grossmont could do to get onto the courts. There was just hell raining from above. Now, as we look forward to this checkmate SND, it becomes, can Fishy continue to slay at that level when the kind of pace of the game changes up, or is Grossmont able to get back on? If they go down 2-0, it's going to be real rough. But if they tie this one up 1-1, I'm going to be predicting a map 5.
Well, you talked about it at the very beginning of this pre-show for this game, and it was the fact that Grossmont was able to take S&Ds off of teams that ASU Gold just simply could not, and they were able to best the majority of the opponents that ASU Gold was able to best as well. The only problem is ASU Gold needs this win to go ahead and knock Grossmont down a spot and then take their spot on the leaderboard in Pacific Division B, and that's exactly what they want. That hunger, that passion, that drive, push them towards that game one victory and really allow them to just completely slay the opponents out, but more importantly, get up 1-0 inside of that series. Folks, we're going to be going to a checkmate S&D after this. If you thought that first hard point was great, well, you're in store for a great S&D as well. On the other side of the break, checkmate S&D coming up. My name's McCormill. That's Morgan. We'll see you in just a minute. 250 to 210 was the score of map number 1. ASU Gold up 1-0. And folks, if you are wondering what the map count is, just take a look at the top of the screen right there. The box that is white on the side of ASU Gold means that they are up in the series 1-0. It's a nice little feature that was added this year by the hands of Treyarch for the Codcaster ability.
Yeah, but here we are already into round number 1 here on map 2, the SND on Checkmate, and it's a 1-to-1 trade. Here on Checkmate, you're going to expect these teams always to go for this hit right into the middle of the plane. That's where you want to find it first as ASU Gold picks up their first round. And if that initial attack doesn't work out, if they stop you, if things get messy throughout the trades, that's when you might expect a rotation back over to the B site. But all of the action you can really expect to be upstairs inside the plane.
Nice little round there out of the side of ASU Gold. This time they'll be on the offensive side, though. It'll be a little bit more difficult to go ahead and find a little bit of map presence, but those SMGs, in Fishity specifically, already 2-0 here inside the Search and Destroy. I mean, if anybody's going to be able to slow him down, it's got to be soon. Because if you allow Fishity to go through your team, I love this and I hate this simultaneously.
Yeah.
That is beautiful and I hate it at the same time, but Fishity switches to the Krig last moment. No 74U, but is able to find the first blood, and now it's just going to be a lonely 1 versus 3 with Jokester inside of the top lane.
Yeah, and Jokester's going to have to be the guy for Grossmont that answers Fishity. He is their best slayer and just hasn't really shown up thus far in this game as ASU Gold go up to a quick 2-0. And I love that this is the one it decides his play as you see the scoped up Krig 6. It's the closest thing to a sniper that you can bring in right now, which is very effective here on the Checkmate because you have the long lines of sight beyond both sides of the plane. But I would expect that to be going back and forth. Fishity is just feeling himself. He can pick any loadout he has queued up and do well with it.
Flip side, Grossmont last time wasn't able to win that offensive round. It was an aggressive defensive attack from the side of ASU Gold, and it looks to be the same here. Looks like the side of Grossmont is just going to play this a bit more passively on the offensive side. Look for that first pick. Lazak under that right side wing over towards the B site is going to look for Fishity on the cross, so that is some information. However, Fishity, once again, with this Krig with that nice sight on it, is going to be able to find one. Doesn't spot the player up towards the top 3. Great, but he should be called out by a teammate. It is going to be still a 3 versus 3 as Jokester is able to go ahead and find the trade, and now VC able to find one as well. That'll be Fishity. So Milo at 0-1 in a 1 versus 3 scenario. Bomb will be going down over towards A. The post plant set up now for the side of Grossmont.
Yeah, and again, it's that thing where once the round gets messy, the A site opens up, but before that is such a dangerous thing to do. But Milo getting pushed all the way back to the attacker's spawn, that makes that retake over by A even harder. This is not the direction you want to be attacking from. Has to work through them one at a time in this 3v1 as Glizzik takes him down. Grossmont win their first round and get some momentum. Still going to be a long road ahead to try and get through ASU, but this is a must-win map to stay in the game, it feels like.
Yeah, even in a 1v3, that's just great bait under the plane as well. You have the player of the SMG who's just trying to stay alive, and then the long-range shots over from the AS&D bomb site with that Krig is able to find and land that final blow. So it is going to be now with at least a 2-to-1 advantage for the side of ASU Gold. Not optimal for the side of Grossmont, but if you are on that roster, you're feeling a bit more happy now, being able to get back into the map, maybe find a little bit of adjustment here on the defensive side. You know, ASU Gold wants to play aggressive 24/7. Let that be your strength and play to that, as it is going to be a push in towards the plane for the side of ASU Gold with the bomb here in round number 4.
Yeah, a lot of focus towards the top of the map, though. We saw earlier as Fishity went towards the bottom side of the map to get that first kill. Now it's going to be him getting a double to kick things off. He can just go wherever he wants.
Okay, man.
That is how you run through a team. ASU Gold back up 3-1.
I mean, when you have, we'll see it again here in the kill cam, but I mean, just plays to his strengths, looks for the player coming outside there, is going to be able to pre-aim that, snaps onto the player up on top wing, and then is able to pre-aim. Yellow slides around the corner, sees RCVZ there as well. I mean, sometimes it's just simply too easy for a player, and right now Fishity has this little playground. He is swimming through the opposition like it's nothing. This guy's got a tail flippers and everything like that, but still has 2 thumbs to shoot straighter than hell. So 3 streak for him here inside of the S&D, 3-win advantage for ASU Gold, not to mention a 1-0 lead inside of the series. After that first, say, 3-4 hills in the hardpoint, ASU Gold has looked like not only a phenomenal team, but absolutely just miles ahead, it seems, over the side of Grossmont, which is weird to say, especially since they're 2-3 in their division, and ASU Gold is that 3rd spotted team with the 7-1 record.
Yeah, and I think what's working so well for ASU and Fishity in specific is he continues to change up his class and where he is going. They are not sticking to the exact same roles. Now you can see back to the Krig 6 off of that 74U. He's used both guns on both sides, and if you can't track down the best player, it is very hard to knock him down and get yourself a man advantage. Now, though, it will be 3v2 as Glizzy gets taken over towards the back of the plane, and the 1v2 to try and close it out for Jess Jokester.
It was a 3v2. They kind of just threw that one away a little bit. I get they tried to get the trades, but as Milo slides around the corner, it'll be a huge kill there from Jokester. Sig now looking for the trade of his own. Krig up close versus the 74U player. Just kidding, it's an XM4. Looking for the players both sides. The reload's going to get caught. It's going to be a 1 versus 2 clutch. That's a huge round win. That's the difference between a 4-1 lead for ASU Gold in a round that they should win to a 2-3 deficit. However, that's much more manageable, especially going back to the defensive side of things compared to when you're looking at an offense that you could have lost easily and been at a 1-4 disadvantage. So great stuff there from the side of Grossmont. They clutch it up in the end, but Jokester, 4 streak right now, working on streaks. Could it be possible that it maybe affects the map just a bit? Obviously, streaks aren't great on Checkmate, but they do allow for a lot of information if they're used.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often that you see a round get choked away by both teams. The 3-2 was a beautiful position for Grossmont. They gave up 2 kills, but then the clutch for Just Jokester managed to get it back and keep the game alive. He needs to stay alive now, though, to get to those streaks, as you were saying, as we get a bit of technical issues inside. We have to head it back, and we'll just have to hope that these guys take it deep into the round. But it is a very good matchup thus far, and
that's an understatement.
You're starting to see the top 2 dudes come through.
Yeah, well, F's in the chat, but you know what, it is what it is. Folks, we're going to kick it to a quick break real quick while we get the lobby issues and everything like that figured out. But folks, don't go anywhere. The Checkmate S&D's finishing behind the scenes, but a Checkmate control is just in the midst. My name's McCormiel. Alongside myself is the big man himself, Morgan. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see the conclusion of the Checkmate Search and Destroy on stream. However, the result was ASU Gold being able to take down the side of Grossmont in a 6-3 fashion. That puts them up 2-0 here inside of this best-of-5 series with a Checkmate control on the horizon. Let's talk a little bit about playoffs, shall we? I think that's something that everybody wants to kind of know and talk about, especially as we're nearing the end of Split 1 here in Season 3 of the CCL. For the playoffs, we're going to be looking at a $25,000 prize pool. 64 teams will be facing off. It's going to be basically around 8 teams from each division, or rather each region, making it in towards that playoffs. The important dates that you're going to want to be able to take note of, though, is April 16th, 17th, and the 18th. That is when all of the playoffs will be taking place. The 16th is going to have the round of 64, round of 32, and losers round 1. The 17th of April is also going to have round 16 of winners, quarters, and semis. And then that also will have losers round 2 through 6. And then championship day is April 18th. Losers round 7 and 8. Winners finals, losers finals, and of course the illustrious grand finals to go along with that. But if you're wondering, what's after the playoffs of the CCL? Well, don't worry. It's the ABC Collegiate Call of Duty Championship, where 8 teams from the CCL will take on 8 teams from the Activision Blizzard Collegiate League, and that will be an $8,000 prize pool, double elimination, best of 5 tournament, and that is an invitational for the top 8 teams from the CCL and the Activision Blizzard Collegiate League alike. Those dates to look out for are May 8th and 9th. But getting back in towards this series, we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we weren't able to see the conclusion of that Checkmate S&D, but it showed us a lot for both of these 2 teams in the rounds that we were able to see on stream. Morgan, what stood out to you the most between both of these 2 rosters?
I mean, it's still the same guy as map number one. It's all Fishity. He was coming out massive there by the time the stream cut right before they went off and finished the rest of that SND. And he was nearly getting met by Jokester. He was the guy called out that you have to match up against Fishity. You're your team's best Slayer. And it seemed like things were going well, that possibly they'd be trading rounds. But obviously, as soon as the cameras were gone, it got taken over by ASU Gold. They end up going 3-1 throughout those last 4 rounds and win in a pretty decisive factor. Now it all comes over to this control, same map, new mode. And I still think it's the same guy that you have to focus on. Jokester, you need to come through and you have to find a way to outslay Fishity, because if he continues to do what he has done thus far, it'll be a one-man wrecking crew over your squad.
Well, Morgan, this is where the unfortunate part of this tale comes in for Grossmont. They've got to reverse sweep the side of ASU Gold inside of this best-of-5 series if they want to remain undefeated inside of Pacific B Division and inside of Season 3 of the CCL. Thus far, it's not looking great. However, Checkmate Control might tailor to them a little bit more than that Checkmate S&D did. The respawn department looks good for Grossmont. We'll just have to wait and see if they can go ahead and find themselves a little bit of momentum here inside of this Checkmate Control. But really talking about Checkmate Control, it's a big map when it breaks down to it, but also a very small map when you're talking about Control for the sheer fact of those spawn traps. When you're looking at a Checkmate Control map, what's the most important part of the map to lock down? But more importantly, along with that, how are these teams going to have to tailor their gameplay?
I mean, I always come back to what my man Cruz and Spaz says about it. It's all about top plane control. If you can get control of the top of the plane, you can see over by A, you can jump down on top of B, you can really control the entire map. I would expect the attacking side to go instantly towards A. That seems like the easier spot to pick up. Get yourself some extra time to think over by B, but it's also B is the harder one to pick up, so it's a little bit of a give and take. Sometimes you hand that change up, you go over to B first, and if that works, it pays out in dividends. The only thing you always have to be watching for, and these two great teams, it would be a surprise if you saw it come through, is the spawn trap. If you're on the attacking side, you get pushed all the way back. The defense can make your life hell. Avoid that at all costs, but you know that's immediately what Fishity is going to be looking for. I think this one might come down to just a good old-fashioned slaying fest. Whoever has more respawns at the end takes it home, because that's just how these two squads have been going against each other thus far. Who cares about the objectives? I just want to put your bodies in the ground as many times as possible.
Well, it's definitely Fishity's mindset going into this one, but of course, a battle of attrition on Checkmate Control, because most of the time this one's going to go to a round number 5 for the sheer fact that winning an offense on this map is not impossible, but virtually impossible, if that makes sense. In the CDL, it virtually has a 0% win rate on the offensive side of things here on Checkmate because of how good defense is, and of course, how good of a spawn trap you can build on your opponents. And of course, that B site, you talked about it a little bit beforehand, how small it is and how many lines of sight are actually onto that point, whether it be a plane drop down, the line of sight from over from AS&D, the line of sight that you have from the back spawn over towards P5. There's a lot of angles to get shot from while capturing that point, not to mention you need a couple of players on your team to be able to stack that point with you to get that most efficient progress on the point. It's going to be very difficult for your team to get on the point and stack it. So more importantly, talking about this game, who's going to be able to win their defenses? Who can maybe steal an offense? And that's going to be really what this map kind of breaks down and comes down to. So Checkmate Control, it's a hell of a map. It's, again, a battle of attrition.
What I would really love to see out of Grossmont is come out hot like they did in map number 1. If you can do that through each of these rounds, you'll really give yourselves the upper hand. A call back to, even though Fishity really blew up and ASU Gold took control of those last 2 maps, when we got started, it was all Grossmont. They were coming through, they were getting team wipes over and over again, just 4 kills down against Arizona State. You do that on control, and that completely gives you the game. You're going to start building yourself respawns. You're going to send them back to guarantee spawns that you can then push forward. That is how you easily lock in a spawn trap, is getting a team wipe and just everyone moving in. So if Grossmont can bring back that type of play for themselves, I really think they have a chance to build towards this reverse sweep. Finishing it off is going to be a very difficult task, but they have shown the ability thus far. It is all up to, can they shut down Fishity, because the rest of ASU have done well. They haven't just taken control like that.
Well, the real question is for the set of Grossman, right? You are 8-0 inside of your division. You do have a great record, an outstanding record compared to the majority of teams left in the CCL that have already lost one, two, three, all of their games potentially. But the big thing is here, right? You've never been tested like this before. You've never been down 2-0, or rather 0-2 in a series. You've never had to make this reverse sweep. Is that, I guess, composure going to be there as we continue to go through the rest of the series? Are you going to crumble under your own weight here, or are you going to be able to step up to the challenge and be able to do so? I think that they have the real potential to go ahead and take this control map on checkmate. I think the big thing is going to be that defensive round. Who gets defense first? If it's a set of Grossmont, they should have no problem taking this series as long as they can keep the slaying department in their favor, as well as being able to have the majority of kills when that round number 5 comes around, unless they can go ahead and obviously win an offense and steal that in the middle of it. But we're going to be able to find that out here in just a second. Grossmont on the right, ASU Gold on the left, and well, here we go. On the defensive side, it's going to be the side of Grossmont, and this is huge for them because now they have an opportunity not only to take round number 1, but potentially the entire series, especially when you get 3 down like that right off the rip. Now make it 4, excuse me, for RCVZ.
Yeah, looking so good right now off the rip for Grossmont, pushing forward, as you said, and already almost having a chance at that spawn trap if it wasn't a 2v1. I love the position on top of the stairs for Glizzic as well, and ASU Gold are feeling the hurt here early. You can see even Fishity is struggling to get himself going, sitting negative, and it's exactly what we said Grossmont needed to do. That's a big break, though, for Milo. You finally have your way out of your own spawns. Can you find a couple more with only 20 seconds remaining in the round?
Well, already down by 9 lives here is ASU Gold. Grossmont having a fantastic first round here in the control. They've done a great job on the defensive side. Now it's just going to be about closing it out. Jokester on the point. The contest with his teammate and Kinger is going to be able to find a couple of kills. They're going to drop the rest. Skill just called out going over towards A, so now they can focus their attention over to the adjacent site over towards that little P4 side. Now pushing through. Skell's going to be in. Milo's there as well. An opportunity to grab A. The problem is you're down by 9 lives at this point, so even if you had an extra minute onto the clock, it's going to take a little bit of time and progression throughout the round in order to get your team even in a position to where you can potentially combat the side of Grossmont. Either A, you get a 4-man wipe, or B, you go ahead and you even it out in the slaying department. That's not happening thus far. This is exactly what I said Grossmont needed to do, because if they're able to go ahead and take the advantage in the kills throughout the entirety of the first couple of rounds, if this does go to a round 5, it is going to come down to which team has the most kills. Grossmont, if they do that, they'll be on defense. It'll be much easier.
Yeah, but right now, Grossmont cannot let up on this gas pedal. They have a big lead, but if it closes, it'll start getting ugly real fast. Seems like they could do it here, but Milo actually going to sit right behind the corner and slowly tick up control here on B. Wait for Jokester to come towards him. ASU still have that win condition of just sneaking away control, but a big double kill there. All of a sudden, you're left with only 2 lives remaining versus the 12 on Grossmont's side. ASU Gold are going to just have to relinquish this first round and hope to come back strong on the defensive side. And it's exactly what we were talking about. This map has a very clear-cut way to win. You get aggressive early on defense, you push the attackers into their own spawns, and you start winning those lives. You get the respawns in your favor. Done beautifully right here by the team in green.
Well, if I'm the side of Grossmont here, although it is 1 kill, don't throw away lives there. Just 2 to 3 push that player, or maybe just don't push the player in the backside spawn at all. Every kill matters when it comes to control. I was just highlighting that before in that last little kind of quarrel that they had. But again, checkmate control. We know how easy it is to win the defensive side. Offense is so much more difficult. However, a good round there from the side of Grossmont. Really a spectacular round for them because they don't lose a lot of lives. They play it smart throughout the entirety of the round. The only thing I would have liked to see maybe in the beginning of that round was when RCVZ was on a huge streak. And again, this is nitpicky, but he was on a huge streak. I believe it was around 4 or 5. And then he ego-chowed a player, or maybe not ego-chowed, but chowed the player that was bottom of NASA. And what that allowed for the side of ASU Gold was to take RCVZ off of the opportunity to find streaks, so that maybe could have hindered progression later in the game. However, though, again, you can't really nitpick a great round from the side of Grossmont. They are going to be trying to go for B here early on, though. Only 1 player left alive for the side of ASU Gold over towards B, so if they read this correctly, they play their cards right, they might be able to get a tick over towards this B site.
Yeah, but out comes the ASU members. 3 quick kills for themselves and retaking control. Grossmont, it's always so worrying when multiple of your members get knocked down. You have to start rushing out, and that's a huge kill out of Kinger. Avoiding the trap, getting pushed too far back, but the aggression is not stopped yet. ASU Gold continue to try and push forward when they can. Grossmont doing a much better job of controlling this map overall, though, than what ASU did in round 1. They are able to get over towards these sites, and now that they finally tapped the A zone, they should be able to look for full control and see what they can do with relatively even lives difference.
Well, you see the respawns for ASU Gold where they are on the mini-map. You've got 2 players pushing where it looks like over towards B. However, they're more trying to play this top lane and over towards this left side to get A. Fishity with some great shots there. 9 and 11 inside of the game. Now make it 10 and 11 on a 2 spree. Great shots there from these players. Looks inside of the point, finds the contest, but it's going to be just Jokester with the retaliation of 2 of his own. That could actually go ahead and get them this A site, but Skell makes a huge play there to get in and find that initial kill. Kinger, though, should be the kicker for the side of ASU Gold. A site going to be controlled, an extra minute added onto the clock, and just to add a little bit of sugar and spice on the top of it, 2 lives now in the advantage for Grossmont.
Yeah, and look at this, Grossmont picking up the first defensive round. Not too much of a surprise, but now looking very strong here from the attacking side. Up on respawns, already have some control, and building it quickly by B. Glizzard could have just put in the final dagger there with a couple of spawn kills. Does not quite happen, and so the chance is still there for ASU Gold to get back into it, but it is a rough round thus far, and if control continues to go in Grossmont's favor, we could see rounds 4 and even 5. The hope is still there for the reverse sweep.
Oh, we saw earlier in the day where a team was just so close to being able to complete that B tick and then was unfortunately being able to get taken off of it by the defensive. However, with RCVZ almost able to find the kills, it's pinstripe kill feeds once again. 2 ticks over towards B, a minute and 20 seconds left, a 4 life discrepancy between both of these 2 teams. So Grossmont do have the advantage once again here on the offensive round. They do not have plane control or mid-map control, which could come in huge for the side of ASU Gold. As I say that though, 2 players go down. Now a opportunity for a push back, but the trades come back for the side of ASU Gold. The problem, they've got no respawns remaining. Grossmont needs to play this smart because they can play the time here. They can play the kills. They don't necessarily have to capture this point.
Yeah, every kill Grossmont gets from here on out means so much because it's an ASU Gold member not coming back on. Grossmont also only has 4 lives remaining, though. Only 1 difference between the squads. They had such good control earlier on, and it has slowly been slipping away, but boom goes 2 kills, and it's all down to CLG. A 1 versus 3. This is essentially a search and destroy now as the Semtexes are getting thrown up, and just no chance. Grossmont finish it off and are up 2-0 here on map 3 control.
And you love that round too, because at the very beginning, again, we saw on the defensive side, the team of the defenders was able to basically 4-wipe the side of Grossmont back into their spawn. Grossmont was able to fight out of their spawn, get back the map control, not only still have the life advantage in that retention, but able to get the A site as well. So when they were able to control all of A, they got the 3 ticks, added an extra minute to the clock. At that point, they were up by 2 lives over the side of ASU Gold. They thinned out ASU Gold's remaining defensive squad, and that was huge because we saw that really big push up into the spawn. Almost was able to get the spawn trap, but really that just forced them to have to sit back, wait for the player in the spawn to come to them before they could push back out. In the meantime, it was points being taken for the side of Grossmont over towards B, getting that progress up, and you love that. I was going to kind of say maybe stack the point, but again, you don't really need to stack the point over towards B that much when you have all your players holding the lines of sight and forcing the offense, or rather the defensive side, all the way back into a spawn trap. Great stuff from Grossmont. They take a huge round there. Minute 11 seconds left here inside this round. ASU Gold doesn't have a tick on either site yet.
And what I love seeing out of Grossmont is just Jokester, 20 and 9, has really finally taken control of his team and said, we are not giving up on it. We will fight all the way until the end. More aggression out of ASU this time. They're able to actually get onto this A site with a little bit of control, and that kill is big for Milo. 2 tabs of progress with still a minute remaining. This is an entirely different feel than how round 1 went the initial time through. And if Grossmont lets this one slip, it could start looking a little bit ugly. They are able to get on, though, towards A, start clearing off the site. 1 member actually coming off of the respawn, 2 stacks by A, and B gets opened up from that kill onto Glizzard.
Normally teams might just want to go ahead and chalk up A, but what this allows is for the side of Grossmont to split the side of ASU Gold. Do they want to go for B? Do they want to go for A? What kind of control do they want? If they are able to go ahead and capture A, of course, you can focus them to a centralized point as they're pushing over towards B, but again, one good team wipe could completely throw off the side of Grossmont's defensive status. So Fishity in middle map will be able to find one on a 2 spree, won't be able to find the next one. That's not going to be the 3 streak for him. It'll be Kinger and Mr. Just Joker being able to find a couple of kills there. So as those 2 players are able to find those, 20 seconds left, the push over towards A is basically going to be in desperation mode, but as Skell and Milo find 2 players, this could add an extra minute onto the clock. Player from top yellow knows where the player in Milo is, but gets absolutely plastered on that push, is going to be able to get taken down. This should be an extra minute added onto the clock now, and this is the bad spot here for the side of Grossmont, because you allow them to get another minute on the clock. However, it's good for you for the sheer fact that they are on an offense. You've got a 2-0 lead right now, but if you do lose this and allow the side of ASU Gold to get back on the defensive side after winning an offense, that could be an easy round 5 for both of these 2 teams. Wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be bad either necessarily, because Grossmont, with the kills that they have right now, would have the defensive side, but if they can continue to keep getting these kills and play the defense like they should be able to do, it should be a round win easily for them. I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah, right there, Skell. Skell wanted to make something happen out on the wing, nearly gets the double, but taken down before it is over. Grossmont now just hoping to get these lives to the end as ASU Gold continue to cling to hope about completing this clean sweep 3-0 victory. Fishity going to find himself one as the members of the defense are really pushed off these spawns. You can't forget, you can still win fresh off control. If you stack up a couple people, it'll really start moving by fast, and there goes that first tab. Glizek is going to have to come down, essentially have 2 guys to challenge, only picks up one of them, but around the backside, Kinger gets a huge kill. Has to find the next on to Skell to try and close it out. It's the last man standing. 2v1, reloads at the wrong time, and ASU Gold will stay alive, get themselves onto the board.
Unfortunate timing there, and just really an unfortunate defensive round, because you really think that the side of Grossmont's able to win that there. I mean, you have the life advantage there at the very end, and although it does come down to winning those one-on-one gunfights and being able to keep those lives at an advantage, playing a little bit more passive can allow you to be able to hold a map so much more, because you just have to sit on those head glitches. Now ASU Gold, after winning this offense, has the opportunity to win another round here on defense. And if you remember correctly, even though Grossmont was able to win it pretty convincingly on the offensive side last time, maybe this lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. You know, maybe you don't find that round this time, and maybe you're looking at a round number 5, and this can still be a 3-0. However, I don't want to be that guy just yet to say that it's all over and done, because Grossmont was able to do it the last time. It's just going to be very difficult after ASU gets their first round.
Yeah, what you got to worry about is that momentum. Is these players starting to heat up? As Sig is the first one to get back into the positive side of things for ASU Gold. And Grossmont right there, that could have easily been a kill, but Kinger kind of gave up on the shots early. He thought he had already finished it off. If you start playing sloppy, you will not be able to close out this map and have a chance of the comeback. Looking at the members on Grossmont's side, Jokester has really slowed down. He was 20-9, is now 25-16, and Kinger is trying to get up there and meet him at 26-20. Over the top goes Skell, immediately falls. This attacking side is looking pretty well right now for Grossmont. They get the control by A, which is what you want to see, but it has all come down to very close life differences here in the final moments, so I want to see these teams prioritize their lives. Don't challenge too aggressively. Don't throw it away if it doesn't mean anything, because it could come back to bite you.
Great Semtex over the top might actually at least prohibit the chow for the meantime. However, double Semtex kill is going to come through from both of the players on ASU Gold, so that'll prohibit the push even further, but there will be 2 ticks at A, and that is the silver lining as you're walking away from this if you're the side of Grossmont. Now looking in towards top lane, you've got middle map control, but it is going to be players over towards A site that are going to be able to shoot up towards top. The team kill could be costly there, and now it's technically 3 down for the side of ASU Gold. Fishity, though, the last line of defense on the defense is going to just be sitting, waiting patiently for these players to push up. Doesn't want to overtly aggressive too early as his teammates are coming off the respawn block, but now as he pushes through on the flank, he's not going to be able to see player number 6. An unforeseen miscalculation there as he tried to push up towards the point. CLG, will find 2 there, and that'll allow them to have a little bit more time and a little bit more patience as they're going to come off the respawn. Now it's just going to be an all-out foot race back to the point for Grossmont. They're going to be able to find that first kill, but they've got to get to the point fast. Also finding a couple of kills. 2 will go down, making a 3rd. They're on the point. This could actually be huge, but player number 1, Fishity, has to come through huge. He's going to be able to find 1, make it 2. Now 2 teammates there, CLG there as well. Oh my goodness, a round that could have been at least extended for the side of Grossmont. ASU Gold is able to win, and Morgan, this is what we talked about. This is the unfortunate circumstance by losing that defensive round when you could have played a bit more passive. Now you're in a round 5 situation. You are on the defensive side, which is going to be a bit easier, but both of these teams have taken an offensive round, so really it's kind of up in the air at this point for who wins, especially since ASU Gold now has the momentum with 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, and Fishity again making game-saving plays for his team. Coming in there when there was a three-man stack on A, they were really getting close to adding an extra minute onto the clock, and he finds a big double kill. Even after he'd already been very injured off that first challenge, just snapped onto the second guy to knock him down. That doesn't happen. Grossmont have more time. They have a pretty good setup on lives, and they'll be able to take that the distance. Here we go, though, into the final round, and it is going to be Grossmont on the attack, or no, on the defense. They managed to actually be ahead in the overall KD because of that really big round 1 and 2. Let's see if they can close it out this time as RCC's 2 in front of him is able to pick up 1.
ASU made that damn close there at the end too, as they were able to basically almost even out the kills between both of these two rosters. However, narrowly escaping was Grossmont, so they will be rewarded for that. Again, that early first round, that was huge for them. Fishity in towards the point, going to be able to find the hip fire shots, but the teammate is there to go ahead and find the trade. Jokester, though, is going to find the CLG in the kill feed as well, so we are looking at Grossmont now being able to spawn trap this out of ASU Gold. This is exactly what we saw in round number 1. However, with 2 kills going down there, it's going to be huge here for Glizzok to maybe find 1 or 2. Glizzok will find Skell, though, so looking over towards the AS&D site, it is going to be a couple of players who are already pushed up onto the point. And with 47 seconds left, they are down by 2 lives now, but they could add an extra minute onto the clock. However, the push comes in through now. Oh my goodness, Milo finds 2. Can he find the 3rd player there over towards the point? No. It is going to be player number 7 and Glizzot looking down and towards the point. Great hold for ASU Gold. Great securing of point A from ASU Gold. Now they focus their attention over towards B. Grossmont now in a spawn trap. Oh, this could be oh, this is not good.
Yeah, Skell's gonna pick up 2 for himself on a Jokester and Glizzok, but luckily Kinger there to knock him down, keep it from being too bad. That does give the man advantage back over to ASU for the moment as they rack up time. That's the big difference when you're sending guys back into their respawn. They don't have enough time. It's just gonna be ASU Gold from out of nowhere down 2-0 are gonna be able to close this one out 3-2, complete a reverse sweep of their own, and send Grossmont home.
And that's all it takes, Morgan. That's all it takes. 1 good 4-man push, a couple of kills to go in your advantage. Then you've got the offense in the spawn trap. I mean, the defense in the spawn trap. I mean, they had 2 players stacking the point, so the side of Grossmont knew they needed to go. They knew they had to get back to that point, but when you're just careless off of the respawn and don't know where those other 2 players could potentially be hiding, it's gonna be hard to do, and you hate to see that if you're the side of Grossmont because you had such a great advantage, a 2-0 lead with 2 extra defenses to try and attack the side of ASU Gold, and you lose both of them. Again, it sucks to say that they choked that away, but that one hurts in the soul because again, now you lose that perfect record at 8-0, and again, you're still 8-1, so you're going to be essentially locked in for that split 2. But now you know how good of a team ASU Gold is, and I hope everybody at home knows how good of a team ASU Gold is now, even though they did lose that one match. Oh, it hurts my heart, honestly, it does, because when you have a team that's able to have such a great map, looking to start that momentum swing for that reverse sweep, it all just gets shut down in the face. The hot 3-0 comes through, but man, it's one of those that's a bittersweet moment too.
Yeah, but don't be surprised when Grossmont ends up trying to play for those top spots, the automatic qualifiers into playoffs. They have the ability. They just couldn't quite deal with 1 player today, and that was the difference. It was a bit of a choke. Sadly, they were up 10-6 on lives there in round 3 with a chance to clean sweep it, and they ended up leaving the player in a 3v1 opportunity at the end. You can't let it all slip away like that, but they have the VOD to look back on. They have some things to learn, and I would expect big things out of them coming into split 2. Right now, though, let's talk about some positives. And with ASU Gold coming through, that was an entire campaign to be Player of the Week out of Fishity.
No, it truly was. And I mean, like, when you start off a hard point, dropping 42 kills on raid, then going to the search and destroy where you're dropping +10, and then inside of the checkmate as well, where you're going off for another game where you're dropping 30. I mean, look. When you have a player on your roster who is allowing the rest of the team to kind of breathe easy in a lot of key moments because of their slaying presence on the map, it's going to make your team that much more valuable, and it's going to make your team that much harder to counter and to beat. When you have a lot of players getting pieced around the map, it's going to be very difficult to even get a little bit of progression on the map, because every time, especially in the hard point in the S&D, it was 2 kills to every 1 death for Fishity, and especially in a map like, or in a game mode like Control, on a map like Checkmate, that can be devastating for your team, no matter if it's offense or the defense. And again, we can't take away from CLG though and some of the other players in that Control, because they played fantastic there. Unfortunately, it was just too late at the very end of that last round, and again, it was a little bit of a choke. But again, some positives for Grossmont. look how close those two respawns were. The S&D,
Mhm.
you know, you can go back, you can lab on that a little bit, but 3-2 for the control. You were up by what, 70, 80, 90 points inside of that first hardpoint map against this ASU Gold team. So again, two great positives to take away. You played close. You just got to find either a composure at the end of the game or just maybe making sure those comms might be not as hectic at the end of games, because I feel like that also can kind of factor into it as well when you're in those tight situations and there might be a little bit of chaos going on those call outs and whatnot. And a lot of teams do have that problem when it gets to really close games. But again, we said Grossmont, they've never been down 0-2 in a series before, let alone basically 0-1 at the beginning of a series. So adversity, you got to learn to play through it, and composure is something they're going to have to learn. But again, you can't take anything away from the side of Grossmont. They're still 8-1 inside of their division. We're not saying they're a bad team whatsoever. ASU just got the best of them inside of the series.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a really good game out of ASU Gold, and it might have been a bad game out of Grossmont. These two play again.
Yeah.
I would really doubt to see a clean sweep either direction. That's just how the cards ended up falling tonight.
Yeah, and it truly was. And, it's difficult, but again, at the end of the day, it is what it is too. So, folks, before we go ahead and end this off and send this off, let's talk about playoffs one more time. If you weren't here for the last spiel that I had about it, the CCL playoffs are coming up soon. Obviously, there's the second split of the season 3, but once we do get to playoffs, oh baby, it's turning up. April 16th, 17th, and 18th are the dates that you want to have marked in your calendar and getting back here on the channel. Obviously, you want to be back here on Mondays and Tuesdays every week leading up to playoffs to see how it's going to shape out and who is really going to be that top team to beat. We already know some of the best teams inside of the CCL thus far, but there can be upsets still, and there always are upsets when it gets into the time of March and April, especially when it comes to college stuff. So, a $25,000 prize pool, top 64 teams inside of the college COD are going to be able to make it into that. 8 teams from each region will find their way into a best of 5 double elimination bracket. And again, that'll be on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of April. After that is over, after the CCL season is over, we've got a whole nother host of stuff going on. That is going to be the ABC Collegiate Call of Duty Championship. That's Activision Blizzard Collegiate. And what that's going to be is an $8,000 tournament. The top 8 teams from the CCL and the top 8 teams from the Activision Blizzard Collegiate League are going to be facing off in an invitational, again, best of 5 double elimination series for $8,000. May 8th and 9th are the dates that you want to have marked in your calendar for that. But folks, that's going to lead us to the end of the broadcast here. It's been a great night, a lot of great matches here on the stream, and of course that 3-0 to send us off into the night. That's only day 1 of week number 5 though. Tomorrow we have day 2 for the rest of week 5 of CCL action. Folks, my name's Ben McCormiel. Alongside myself has been Morgan Dunn. We'll see you here tomorrow once again for some more great Call of Duty action for CCL Season 3.